Bonjour and welcome into the cave. My guest today is the guitarist and the vocalist of a band that I discovered while they were supporting Enter Shikari and Fever 333. And if you have seen those bands live, you know that their energy is very hard to match. And yet this band managed to not get overshadowed at all and to match their energy to 100%. And then I got lucky enough to see them live in Munich, and it was just 2 hours of a party. And this is why I'm very happy to have today with me Mario Radetzky of the band Blackout Problems. Hi, Mario.
Hi, bonjour.
How are you doing?
Oui, ça va, merci. I'm really good today, yeah. Having a chill day.
People don't know that, but Mario is quite a busy man, but also a man of his words, because we've been talking about this podcast for a year. In addition of being the guitarist and vocalist of Blackout Problems, you're also the founder of Munich Warehouse, which is a clothing brand, a label, a publishing agency, and a management agency. And this is also how I got to have the episode with Clara and Leonie of Ome Block.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to this episode, go listen to it after this one. And yeah, even when I almost gave up on this episode because I didn't want to bother you, you are the one sometimes who came to me, no, I still want to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, still a man of his word, fan.
I'm so sorry. You were very, very, very patient. And I know that this sometimes is a bit hard. It was really hard to find a date for me. I really love your podcast and I wanted to do it justice. So I wanted to have like time and headspace for it. So yeah, for everyone who's listening, we're recording this episode at night. It's 8:30 and it's a Monday night. It took a bit of time for us to find a date, but we're finally here.
Here we are. And yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, this was a pretty eventful year for you, 2025. Can you tell us a bit about what you did?
Yeah, so first of all, last year our management, our label, and our booking agent dropped us. So we started to do a lot of these things by ourselves. And the last year, we've been doing this now for a year, was pretty occupied by arranging stuff, by cleaning out things, by managing the band, and not too much by releasing and writing new music, but also we were very focused on playing live music. We did a pretty big tour at the end of last year, and this year we did like more festivals than we did in a few years. And yeah, it even took us to France. We played the VMB festival, and we've had festivals in Germany, of course. Most of them are in Germany, but we've also been to Austria, to Switzerland, to Italy, and to Czech Republic. And yeah, we're having a really, really good time at the moment. So everything's a bit, I wouldn't say laid back because we have goals, but we're not too rushed, I think, at the moment. We try to be laid back and we try to focus on our shows and to play good concerts, and yeah, that's basically what we do.
I mentioned Enter Shikari, with who you played, and I think they are the perfect band for you to play with, because they also, just like you, have very topics about society and topics that are more personal. So we will talk about those two aspects during the episode, and we're gonna start with the more personal aspects with the song Talk to Me, in which, for example, you say, I've had enough of waking up ghosts that should sleep. Can you walk me through what was your mindset, your headspace at that time?
First of all, I think that Talk to Me part 1, the song has two parts. We're talking about part 1 now. It's a really interesting choice to talk about because we haven't played the song live too much. We've played it this year for the first time ever in Hannover and Stuttgart. I really remember writing this song because it was when our friend and ex-drummer Michael left the band. I was really close, or at least I thought I was really close with him because he was the drummer, I was the guitarist, and if we wrote songs together, I brought the chords and he brought the rhythm. So he got the whole thing moving, which was really important for me. So when he decided to leave the band, there was an episode where I knew that something was up and I knew that something went bad, and we didn't really talk to each other for a week. I had this week where I was like totally in the clouds, I think, um and I started to write Talk to Me. If relationships take turns where things might end up not really where you want to be, then my way of handling these things is always to write music. And if I have like problems, or if I have bad phases in my life, or if I have obstacles or fear or whatever, I tend to bring these things into my lyrics and my music. And Blackout Problems has always been the band to do that. I've always had a good situation, since we write music sometimes alone, sometimes together. Especially in the early days of the band, we just got together in the rehearsal space and started jamming, and we ended up with a song or a vibe, and then I started to write lyrics for that. We never had a master plan or anything to the band. Things just fell in place. Things just happened. So it just happened that I was the lyricist, and that I had the opportunity to write about my anxieties, my fears, my doubts, my worries, my whatever, and I could put it into the music. Yeah, so back to Talk to Me, I do think that, yeah, it's a song about friendship, and about, with Talk to Me part one, I was really trying to cling to the whole friendship, and I was trying to give out a hand to a friend and say, hey, we can do this.
The ghost you are talking about in this song is maybe the memory of this friendship?
I think the ghost is bad feelings, anxieties, fears, and ghosts that should sleep off for me, and are things that I want to let go of, and things that I need to let go of to continue with my life. It's not these ghosts are not a person, or it's not a it's just it's more or less a feeling that I want to get rid of. I was probably looking a bit for stability in my life back then.
And was Mike a person that you would have gone to when you were feeling like this?
I don't know. I thought about that, and I don't really I don't want to connect this one too much to the situation, but I do remember that I came up with the song while having this situation. I always tend to leave some things open, especially for the listeners to interpret. That's something that really makes me a bit uncomfortable talking about these things. So that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast, because it's challenging for me. One thing that happened during those early days was in 2015. We were writing our first record, Holy, and I came up with really personal lyrics about the divorce of my parents. And I remember singing these lyrics very, like, almost a bit afraid of anyone to hear these lyrics, because we write these things with closed doors. If there's nobody watching us, if when we're in the studio or in the rehearsal space, so we can do whatever, and we don't talk about people hearing these songs. We don't think about that. We don't write songs having an audience in mind. We only write songs with having ourselves and our feelings in mind. The first time that I got really scared about what someone might think about my lyric was when I sang the song Hold On. Marcus was in the room, and he got to hear these lyrics for the first time, because when you're in a dusty, old, smelly rehearsal space, and you're playing, you don't really get the lyrics sometimes. You just like hear pieces and bits, but once the songs get recorded, everyone hears each and every word on a new level, and you probably even have to type down the lyrics for a booklet or anything, so your bandmates get to really see and hear the lyrics for the first time in a very transparent way. So yeah, I remember being really scared of opening up, but I felt like every time I did that, I started to get a bit more sweaty and a bit more like I had this certain feeling that I was on my path to doing the right thing. Because if I write a song and I just imagine a story, or if I just like imagine some lyrics that don't really have anything to do with me, they didn't do anything for me. They didn't make me nervous. They didn't hurt me or anything. And so I thought, this might not really, that's not what it's about. Blackout Problems is about really facing the darkness, or facing the problematic things, or even the joy in your life, but it really has to be authentic. So yeah, every song has an authentic background or feeling behind it, at least since I evolved a bit as a songwriter. I do also don't want to be the guy who gives you everything and gives you all the images that you have to think about, because this song is exactly about this and this and this and that. I just want to leave some things open for everyone to interpret. And yeah.
Yeah, because anyway, everyone has a different story, but we can meet
Yeah.
because we feel an emotion, and that's the goal in the end, and to connect.
Yeah, and I do think that it's not only about me if we sing a song, because when, for example, Hold On was a song that was inspired by the situation I went through at home with my parents, and about the images I saw. And I really do see this very clear image of my dad in this certain situation that really did something with me. And I really have this very exact memory of the time my parents told me that they get a divorce, and the feeling that I connect with that is the one thing, and that got me to write the song. But if we play the song live, or if you hear the song on the record, you think about your story. That's something I discovered, because even in our band, Mo was the first one who came to me, and he said, if I hear this song, I think about the divorce of my parents. It really takes me back. And that started to happen a lot, that people came up to me and were like, this song reminds me of that situation in my life. They never talked about my situations, because it doesn't really matter. It's sometimes very, very private. So sometimes I cannot really talk about these things in a reflected way. But people came up and talked to me about their situation, about their feelings and their problems, and that's a beautiful thing. That's so beautiful, because then we can meet. uh, I think it's the wrong term, but higher grounds. Like, we can meet on a certain frequency or on a certain place where we're both connected, and that's what I really, really love about our music. That I do have the feeling that the listeners that really get us and like us, they are connected to us in a certain way.
And especially live, you can really feel it because people are singing it back to you. So for you, it's something pretty easy to take this feedback, because it can be also hard to hear all those stories sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I really like if people share their stories and if they're open about it, and because the music and this situation often happens at the merch after shows, or maybe before shows, but it speaks a very clear language. These people they feel that this is the place where they can share their story, and that's really beautiful. That's something that you probably describe as a safe space, where people feel like, I can share something now that's really personal to me. I feel like I can do that right now. That's really beautiful. And I totally get that, because I took so much from music. Music helped me in so many situations. And when I was growing up, music was always my best friend. It's always been at my side, and it helped me through thick and thin. And when I saw artists or bands, musicians that I loved, then I always wanted to
Feel a connection.
I felt a connection, yeah, and I do have that these days. Not too much, but there's certain artists that really feel connected to.
Which one?
For example, if I go to a Bruce Springsteen concert, and this might sound a bit weird, but I've been at my first show with 24, and I've been there with my mom. So Bruce came out, it was raining, and the band came out and they started playing some songs, and some of them I knew and some of them I didn't know, but I started tearing up and I couldn't do anything about it. I was like, shit, I I'm about to cry now, and this music makes me feel in a certain way that I just I can't do anything about it. It just I'm tearing up, and this happened to me a few years later. I went to a show and I started crying at the end of the show, and just last year I think I went to the last Springsteen show that I went to, and again with my mom. Funny story, but yeah, we went together, and show started. I don't know what happened to me. I was fighting tears for 1.5 hours. I don't know what this. It does something. It's like a frequency that starts, and then it gets me. And sometimes this happens at shows, and where I can get really emotional. I don't think I am an emotional person, of course, but I'm like, I don't tend to cry a lot.
You
But
don't
yeah,
express it a lot.
no, yeah, it's, and I've never talked about that. It's true. It's funny, but yeah, never. I don't do that usually. But at live shows, there's sometimes things that really yeah, make me tear up.
I can think of two reasons for that. First, that I think it just activates something in your brain that brings back a memory, and it's just, if you're not someone who expresses your emotions a lot, I think there are a lot in you and they just want to get out, and once the door is open, sometimes it's...
Yeah.
And also at shows, it's very dark. So actually people cannot see you, how you feel. And so I think it's a bit, you feel protected and
Yeah.
just in a safe space to do that.
Totally.
But yeah, I think it's important and great that you managed to replicate this with Blackout Problems, because yeah, music is a lot about connection and in any genre, but I think also a lot in the alternative genre we are mostly looking for. If you were an old emo kid like I was, of course, every lyric spoke to you and you're just looking for a connection with the artist.
Yeah.
Coming back to the lyric about the ghost, the first time I heard it, I don't know if you believe in ghosts or anything, and that's not the question, but it said that, it's souls in our dimension that are trapped because they have some unfinished business. And so it feels a bit like you're also trying to deal with some unfinished business and to finish it. And so this way the ghost can live. And your way of doing that is writing music, because from what I understand, you're not very good at talking
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah, it's I do think that especially the term ghosts found its way into more than just one song in the last couple of years. I'm not really big on ghosts and soul stories and things like that, but I can relate to the image of having unfinished business with yourself, with other people, just the way that we are as human beings. And I do think there are a lot of ghosts surrounding me and wanting to sometimes finish some of the businesses that are open, and sometimes just to get it over with, or to keep it out of my life. I do connect this song to growing up, and especially not the growing up that you do when you turn 18 or 20, but once you hit this mark of turning 30, I think that you grow up in a different way. There's a new perspective on growing up, or there's a new barrier that you cross. And especially if there are things happening in your life, like if you have an important breakup, or if you have if you have kids or if you have like um, a lot of responsibility in your life, then you really grow up. If you're thrown into a situation where you have a lot of responsibility, then there's a new perspective to growing up. And for me, growing up was always a really big thing that I had to learn. They're like goals that you have in your life. And some people have the goal of being successful or the goal of having a certain car or a house or something like that. I have the goal to be a good person and to do the things that I do in a good way and to be a good partner to all the people that I'm connected to and to get shit done. You know, since there's a lot of things that really interest me and I do a lot of things, keeping away the things that keep you from being a good person, keep you from getting stuff done, keep you from being a good partner or anything, that's also a ghost. And that, now that I'm saying that out loud, it sounds like I'm talking about drugs or anything, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about like these ways of behavior. Yeah, keeping away these ghosts to me means focusing on the good things, focusing on progress, because progress is always very important for me.
And how do you keep the focus on that?
That's a really good question. And I don't really have the recipe for the perfect life, since my life has been very tumultuous in the last and chaotic in the last few months. There's one thing that I really try to ask myself almost every day. Can I really look into the mirror and see a decent person or an image of myself that I like? Sometimes that gets lost, but yes, it's a way of how do I handle especially difficult situations? Do I handle them in a way that I can reflect on in a few years and look back and tell myself that I handled this situation in a good way or not? Sometimes asking yourself the question, is this really the way that I want to be? That's something that tries to keep me on track. But I'm not sure if I'm really there yet. I don't know. I'm just trying my best, but I think I'm full of mistakes and full of things that I still have to learn.
Yeah, but first of all, this is everyone's first time on Earth, normally. So, so we all learn from it, and I don't think bad people wonder if they are a good person or not.
I don't know.
What I mean.
I really don't know. I have no idea what sometimes I do. What does a person make? I don't know what's a bad person like. I have no idea. Well, I think they do live in a situation or in a they have a point of view on certain things that is just very, very different from what we think is good or is bad or whatever. But I don't feel like, that's self-optimizing. I really don't feel like I'm anywhere close to being a perfect person or anything. I just try to do my best every day and try to focus on learning and doing that.
Yeah, I don't think there is such thing as a perfect person. And I think the best we can do is just learn from our mistakes and reflect on that. And sometimes we react instead of acting, for example, and happens to everyone. And
Yeah, absolutely.
this is also a very good transition to the second song, because so we talked about a song that is more about your personal aspects. And so, as I said, you write also a lot about society topics. And so the second song we are going to talk about is Germany, Germany, from the album Dark that was released in 2021. And so that I guess you wrote 2020 or 2021.
Yeah. When I think about Germany, I do think about one situation that we had in our old rehearsal space where we recorded the vocals for the track, because we had an early recording session that day, and Germany is a pretty rough song, and it's really, there's a lot of energy. in the song. There was a protest, a Black Lives Matter protest, after the death of George Floyd.
Yeah.
We went to see that, and we participated in the march. We were at the Königsplatz in Munich, and there were speeches and everything. It was really fascinating, really inspiring, shocking, saddening, but we went back to the studio, and there was this energy boost that we got from from being at the protest, because we were really in that situation, talking about this horrible death, and seeing what it did to people and to the world, and how other people that are threatened by racism feel like, and we absorbed the feeling that was happening there. Went back to the studio and did a few takes of the song again, erased the other tracks, and re-recorded everything. And it was, the energy was just right.
This song was written in a very particular environment, and I can imagine that it was hard. But also, actually, when I go to protest like this, because lately in Munich there was also some protest during the elections, and it's scary, but at the same time it gives me a lot of hope, because I see how many people there are, and not only people who are involved. I think it's good to see some people that could be privileged going there, because, for example, us, if we are going, we can say we are pretty privileged.
Absolutely.
And seeing a lot of people. This was written in 2021, and we are still talking about protests happening, unfortunately. And especially, you're talking about Germany don't go back into history, and I am French, so I guess you're talking about mostly World War II.
Yeah.
So France at this time was on the other side of the war, and right now we are starting to see a bit of the opposite. Like, France is coming back to it. When I still listen to it, I find it funny that it was released in 2021 and that we still want to chant this song.
It's sad that these topics are found in songs since forever, and they won't go away, and they won't really not be not important. You know what I mean? It's sometimes, if you write a song that is really connected with a certain time or a certain happening in history, like, for example, Germany was one thing that really came after not only the protests, the Black Lives Matter protests that were pretty positive, but there were also negative protests, like the Pegida protests. There were right-wing people in Germany went on the streets to protest against refugees coming to Germany, and that was also inspiring. And while writing about this, we were thinking, if I write a song about this right now, will we really play the song in 5 years? Because people might not remember what's the song about, which time did you write the song, and what was that connected to. And that's not the case. I do think we get a strong reaction from playing Germany. We get a strong reaction from playing Murderer, which we wrote in 2020 again, after a politician of the party CDU was murdered in his backyard by a right-wing extremist. So these things don't go away, and they're just getting harder and harder these days. And playing a song like Germany in other countries is very interesting, because we talk about our heritage and our upbringing and the country that we live in. Because I thought it's authentic to write about Germany, because we live here, we experience the everyday life here. We know what racism looks like in Germany. I don't really know what, like, life in the US looks like, because I don't experience that every day. So why should I write about like pool parties and college good times and stuff like that? Let me write about these things that I really experienced and that I know about. And yeah, that's when we wrote Germany, and then playing the song in other countries really sometimes a bit funny, because everyone has an opinion about Germany, but then again the song is about racism that other people can connect to as well. If we play in France, people know about the many votes that the right wing parties get these days. And yeah, there's a funny connection that people make with the song, I think.
I didn't grow up in Germany or anything, but I think Nights, even more as being European, I can understand it. And I just relate to it, but maybe transfer it a bit to what is happening in France. And when I was a kid, I remember for all elections, we've always had the far right-wing party also going into being the finalist of it. And I remember being a kid that I was very scared of it. And now it's still there. Like the next elections, I'm very scared of them. And it's actually getting more and more real. I think it's also a bit of a shame that when you're against this, people use the word woke as an insult when it literally means to be aware of what is happening. And yeah, I think it's important for music and for artists to get political about it also, because it creates a connection and makes people more aware. So I think it's very important to do that.
That's really interesting. I don't really think a lot about the word woke, but I've just been called a woke idiot by an old white man in the supermarket, because I told him that he shouldn't use the N-word, which he did, and which was horrible at that moment. And he was like, it was just so stupid. And I told him like, dude, don't do that. And yeah, he called me a woke idiot. But yeah, never mind. I don't really think about that too much. It's interesting how these parties use words like woke or anything they can find to fuel their flame. They can do whatever they want. They always get more votes. They're growing and growing and growing. If we focus back on Germany again, I don't think there's ever been anything, no matter how extreme or whatever, that the AfD did that didn't help them. Anything they did always helped them to grow and to get more into the spotlight. And there's been so many people leaving the party talking about the horrible things they did. It doesn't really help. There have been people exposing stuff about them. It doesn't really help. They're always growing and growing. And I think there has to be a shift in the universal mind of this society. Other than that, it won't really help. When Trump was elected, I was like, okay, this is just absolutely mind blowing.
The first time or second time?
The first time. I was like,
already.
this can't be happening. This is absolutely mind blowing. But then now that he got elected the second time, I'm like, okay,
you guys learn nothing.
It's not only that. It's like, okay, this is not even funny. This is like, you can't tell anyone about that I don't know if in which world are we living in this is so out there. This is so crazy that a person like that gets elected as a president twice, and especially after what he did since he got elected the first time. It's just unbelievable. But it happens, and people fall for that, and people want that. There are enough people who vote for someone like that. So I do think that I live in a bubble where I'm not connected to these people. I don't have any AfD voters in my my surroundings. Yeah, I don't really see them. I don't really know what their fear is. I don't know what their feelings about the world. I don't really connect to these people, and I don't really understand it. But that's just my point of view, and this is these other things or these other people. They exist as well, and they have their fears. And these parties that we were talked about, they use these fears and get more voters. I do think it's horrible, but on the other hand, just going back to the lyrics and to the lyric side, because we were talking about Talk to Me as a very personal song, and then Germany as a political or society song. There's always a personal point of view in these songs as well. So these songs are never written as an fact based whatever. They're always written from my or our point of view, always through my lens, and they have my fears in there between the lines. Every theme, every topic that we talk about that is not in the first way very personal. If we talk about the climate change or racism, then this might not be seen as personal, but on the other hand, these things get me to feel a certain way on a personal level. So I tend to write about them. It's not like I choose topics that, this is very, very interesting now. Let's talk about that. It's always a feeling that I have inside of me. And I'm like, I do feel like I want to write about this topic because it makes me feel a certain way, because I'm afraid that this happens, because I'm very pissed off, or I'm angry, or I'm sad, or I want to change something, or whatever. Yeah. So I do feel like all the quote unquote political songs have also a personal side to them. And a lot of political decisions that we make are personal decisions. So
it's not like you're telling people how to think. You're just telling them, giving them your point of view. And if they connect with it, then they listen to the song, they listen to your band.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't really want to tell anyone what to think, because as I said before, when we talked about Talk to Me, there's so much that I'm still learning, and there's so much that I still want to learn, that I don't feel like I know everything and I know all the answers. I have all the answers. I'm not like that. I'm interested in learning and gaining knowledge and making experiences and stuff like that. I'm not there yet. So I don't want to tell anyone what to do or what to think. I just can give you my perspective.
Yeah, but anyway, there is always something to learn about anything. And I think those people on the far right parties, they also play on the fact, as you said, on fears. And they just give people reassurance. Most of the time it's lies, but at least it gives them comfort. And this is why those people come to them. So if I'm trying to have some sympathy for them, to put myself in their shoes, I think this would be the solution. Why?
Fear is a very powerful thing, and you can misuse that fear, and you can also be misled by fears, especially being afraid of other people, being afraid of the bad world that is outside of your four walls. Sometimes the world is not that horrible, because we tend to talk about the very, very horrible world, and everything's going down, and I don't know, but there's also so much beauty to be found in this world. I've just spent 2.5 days in Italy, where I haven't made one bad connection with anyone. It was just beautiful, and it got me thinking that we always focus a lot about bad things that comes through the news, through social media, through whatever, but it darkens our point of view a bit. And once you get out there, and once you make your own experiences, you sometimes see that the world isn't as bad as it sometimes feels like. Because especially nowadays, there's so much shit going on. If you look at Gaza, which is absolutely horrific, I don't think there are any words to describe what is happening there. And then you got Ukraine, then you got so many bad political situations where you can be afraid of a next war. I don't know what is happening between the leaders nowadays, but they tend to, every time someone steps into Trump's offices, you think like, oh no, what the fuck is happening now? And every day there's more and more and more bad news.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to break the cycle and to just go out there, make your own experiences, and experience that the world is not always a bad place.
It's really important what you're saying, to remind it that outside people are not bad. There is so much beauty in the world that we don't talk about because all those political conflicts. Well, I'm not talking about Gaza. This is not a conflict, but this is a genocide. It's important to remind yourself that outside there is beauty and there is good in hopefully almost everyone. You were talking about fear and how powerful it is. You see a dog that is afraid. That is very dangerous. And this is how they attack. They play just on fear to make us more aggressive and to split us apart, when in the end we should all be just together. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
so you wrote Germany in 2021, and for example, was it this year or last year that you released Front Row? This year.
This year, yeah. Yeah, we wrote it last year and we recorded it last year just next door. And we released it I think...
in 2025.
In February, yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
By the way, you can see me in the music video.
Nice.
But yeah, just a reminder that the topic is kind of the same. So you wrote it, I guess it was in the environment of the elections coming up.
Yeah.
In Germany.
Yeah. That was coming up, and so we came up with these lyrics, and Mo came up with the chorus. So that was a song that he started to write, and we really he was like, I remember we were standing in front of the elevator and he was like, dude, I think I have a hit. And that's always a very, very nice feeling. He sent us the demo and we were like, yeah, this is a great chorus and let's work on that. So he did the lyrics for the chorus that are a bit they are pretty open, I think. They don't really pinpoint like this one situation or this one thing. They're really open, but you can kind of imagine what can happen in the verse. So yeah, he wrote the chorus, and then I could write the lyrics for the verse, and especially the second verse, voting for fascists really make you a fascist. That I told the other guys about the lyrics. I'm like, yeah, I have this one line where I'm not really sure if it fits or if you know what I mean, but here it is. Did it, and they were like, yeah, that's it. And so we did it. It's really, it's a bit, I don't know, straight to the point. It's really, I wouldn't say aggressive, but it has an aggressive undertone to it, and a very clear message, because a lot of the things that we do are not too clear. They are open for interpretation. There's a lot going on, and there's always like reflecting a lot of sides. But when it came to the last election, I want to do something that makes our point very clear. Since the chorus was very open to go in every direction, I thought, let's do it in the verse. Let's really pinpoint the thing and get out a message that is understandable for everyone, to let people know where we are, on which side we are. Every time you do something like that, there's always the fear of being critiqued. in a very harsh way these days. There were a few listeners a bit irritated about the harshness of it all, and they talked to me about it, but I don't know. I really thought that I could make our opinion very clear and to let people know where we are. And where that came from was also a feeling of we need to act right now. I can't really look into the mirror or imagine like if you're a bit older and you talk to your kids about what did you do back then? What was your opinion on the whole thing? I really wanted to have an answer to that.
Yeah, because staying silent is also taking a side.
That's just something that I wrote about today, that I read about today, that the people who are not taking a stand are really, really affecting things. Front row is us
taking a stand.
Yeah, taking a stand.
If you are privileged enough to say, no, I am apolitical, I don't have any opinion on it, you're just in your bubble and you don't see what's outside of the world, but at some point maybe you will need to be political.
Yeah. Again, I don't have a really strong opinion on that because I haven't talked too much to people who say that they are completely apolitical, and probably they have their reasons, or I don't know. I feel like there's so much that you need to do, learn, and try to do right that I don't really feel comfortable judging about these people. Front row especially was just a way of reflecting and judging ourselves a bit. Like, what are we going to do right now? Are we brave enough to get our opinion out there? There's a line in the song Whales, hang me for it in this lonely place called internet. It's a reminder to have an opinion these days, because these days having an opinion always means some kind of backlash and some kind of, I don't know, comments that you have to deal with if you're interested. But yeah, it's a reminder to be brave enough to have an opinion and to say it out loud and clear if you feel like this is something that you want to address.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially in art can be just pretty also, but I think it's also important for art to give you emotions, to give you something to reflect on. And as we were saying, not telling you what you should think, but actually to make you think about it, and then you can make your own opinion of it.
Yeah.
Well, Mario, thank you very much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And now what's next for Blackout Problems?
I want to get back into songwriting. I had a really tough time these last 1.5 years, and on a personal level. So I kind of got drawn away from songwriting a bit. I do feel like the band is not done. So we really want to write new music, and I think Mo is really creative at the moment, and he just sent me a demo the other day that I thought was great. Marcus just learned a new instrument. He plays the saxophone right now, so that's going to be very interesting. I do think that there's going to be like a situation where he tries to probably come up with ideas to fit in a sax in all our songs now. Let's see about that. The first things that I wrote these past few months were pretty easy. What I mean by that is when I start writing songs, they're sometimes a bit not too energetic, not too loud, not too aggressive. That always comes a bit later. So the first ideas, some slowly leave the fingers. But yeah, we were just really focused on the festival summer and focused on doing good shows and doing the management side of that. And I've collected a few stories that I feel like need a place to leave my head. But I'm really interested in how everything will turn out now, because every time we try to write new songs, we start at zero. We don't really have a recipe for anything. We have to start somewhere and then look at what we did. So I cannot tell you anything about how we will sound if we put out new music maybe next year.
Because you don't even know yourself.
I don't even know. I don't even know. I have no idea. I have to figure that out. If we do another record, it's going to be record number 5.
Mhm.
So even then, we're still full of surprises and full of doubts and full of, I don't know, things that we need to find out. I have a lot of respect for songwriting. I'm a bit, I don't know, maybe held back by my own fears to not write anything that matters, I think. If you know what I mean. That's like the...
So for you, it has to matter.
Yeah, it has to matter to me, and it has to, like, I think a lot about us as a band and me as a person while writing songs. I don't really have any thoughts about an audience or a crowd or having like some expectations by them or anything. We don't write songs to fit into a playlist or anything. So there's not really a frame there. It's very open and anything can happen. But at the end of the day, it has to matter to us. Musically, I think it's going to be interesting in how we are going to write songs with the new formation that we have, with Yo on the drums and Marcus on the bass, on the sax, and Mo on the guitar and on vocals. And yeah, that's going to be really interesting. So yeah, it's an open field right now.
So surprised, but I'm looking forward to seeing what it becomes.
Thank you.
And so very soon you will go on tour in Germany?
Yeah.
Or
Germany and Austria. This year we're only playing a few shows, not too many, and we have a few weekenders that should be fun. And some of the shows are already sold out, which is new for us. And yeah, some shows will bring us to cities where we haven't played in a long time. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. So it's a really easy plan for this year.
So if you're in Germany or Austria, go check where they are, because maybe they are playing next to your place.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mario.
Merci beaucoup.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thank you.
So for everyone listening, go check Blackout Problems wherever you listen to music. Meanwhile, you can follow me on Instagram at IntoTheCavePod. I will talk to you again next week, and meanwhile, be kind to yourself. Bye.